Hi, Donal Carr here again. Listen, a comment I've heard recently with some clients and a couple of discussions that have come up recently about sleep. How much sleep do we need and how much sleep we can get by on. A couple of years ago, I did quite extensive research into sleep because I was doing a workshop for fitness professionals and healthcare professionals. It was an 8-hour workshop on sleep. So I would dug a deep dive into sleep, and one of the best resources I found was a little university called Harvard University, and they have sleep labs, and they have quite a lot of information on their websites around sleep and the adverse effects of not having enough sleep and what sleep does to your body. So after extensive research, I found that most of the research points that you need to have 8 hours sleep as a minimum. Some people say they can get away on 7 or 6 or even 4. That as a physiological rule doesn't really work. You may feel okay, but you're not realizing what that's doing to underlying physiology. So when we get our proper adequate amount of sleep, we actually get proper mental repair and physiological repair. Some people will not feel that creep up on them, and they'll have chronic fatigue syndromes, or they'll have lethargic brain fog and other aspects to not having enough sleep. There's also a lot of indication to show people who do night shifts and stay up late and don't get proper sleep in alignment to what we call the moon and the sun rhythms on this planet. So if you're living on this planet and the sun goes down 3 to 4 hours after the sun goes down, natural melatonin should raise. If that does not raise, or we don't have the capacity to raise that melatonin because our protein levels, or we're not getting the type of tryptophan, or we're not getting the type of serotonin that's a precursor to the melatonin, so we don't have the right proteins, then we can't produce that. Or we could have something in our body where we are maybe interfering with our manufacturing of this because we're staying in a cortisol high stated stress response, and that could be too much sugars, it could be caffeine, or it could be alcohol, it could be something that's giving us a stimulant too late in the day. So most of these things will stay in the body, like caffeine can stay 6 to 8 hours in the body. So if you're having coffee after 2 or 3 o'clock in the day, by the time you should be getting to bed around 10:30 after the sun's gone down, then your body's not having an ability to make the melatonin. Now, when we go into sleep, we have rhythms. We have an ultradian rhythm in our brain where our brain goes from left to right. We also have where we go into the deep, rapid eye movement sleep, and we drop in deeper and deeper as we go along through that sequence. So if we're not getting our 8 hours sleep, body will always work on helping the psychological repair first, but the physiological repair will be sacrificed. So we won't get enough rejuvenation, regrowth, and repair. And this ends up having like osises, tendon problems, hormonal problems, skin problems, joint problems. Our body won't recover from exercise. We're stiffer longer, we're more lethargic. We now need to respond to and use more stimulants to get up. It takes us longer to warm up. It takes us longer to move generally on an everyday basis. And that might be fine for you and you're happy with that, that's fine. But the research doesn't show us that. The knowledge out there of applying that research doesn't show me that. And from working in the industry for 30 years, it certainly doesn't show me that you can get by on 30 hours, or 3 hours to 4 hours of sleep. Now, I went to an interesting conference in America, in Canada, in 2007, CanFit. And there was a gentleman there, Dr. Lenny Kravitz, and he is from the New Mexico University. And he does a review on papers of interesting facts and figures that come out during the year. So this was back in 2007. He's been over here in Australia and Philex a couple of times, and he does great seminars and great talks. One of the really interesting papers he released, and this is great for anybody who's a strength conditioning coach, or anybody who's an athlete or a weekend warrior or a CrossFit athlete or someone that pushes themselves really hard, they found that the research shows that an athlete that exerts themselves at a high level for more than an hour of exercise a day needs an average of 9 to 9.5 hours of sleep to get full recovery. So chew that one for a while and see how you go. Because I can tell you from working with pro athletes that if they're not recovering, they can't get back in the gym, and they can't push themselves that 1 to 3% harder the next day in the gym. And even with recovery, if you've got a disc injury or a spinal injury or something else, if you're not getting the time to sleep, your body's not getting that physical repair. You might feel mentally okay on 6 hours, and hey, we've all stayed up late and done the odd kind of out in the night in the town and all that kind of stuff, but our body can't handle that on a consistent basis. If it's only happening once or twice a week, you might be able to get away with it, but it's not ideal. I'm talking about ideal and what the research. If you don't believe me, check out Harvard. Challenge them guys, see what they say.